Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic Live. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Excited to be with you and share the news with you, folks. Do me a favor, smash that like, chat in with where you're from. This show may go a little bit longer today. I've got so many video clips because I watched what happened yesterday and I just withheld on doing any videos because I wanted to actually get you real valid commentary, valuable commentary, and then pull together a bunch of clips and see how the world is reacting to this. Well, things went from bad to worse for Z after that whole meeting. And there's actually calls for his removal back in Ukraine right now. Lindsey Graham has turned on him. There's so much to say on that. Talk of regime change in Ukraine. Now, that's been a talk that we've had before. In fact, we've facilitated Ukrainian regime change. We did that in 2002 and 2014. We've got throwbacks comments from Obama. I've got so much to cover on this show. I just held off because when I first saw the clip that sent everybody, that just went totally viral immediately, where Vlad went off. He even called, folks, and I've got the video here. I'll show you. But on a hot mic, he even called our vice president a female dog under his breath. Yes, this is a pompous little dude. I've shared the videos of him in his high heels, butt slapping other guys. I've got an even worse one I just posted on X. Well, I don't know if it's worse, but the same kind of caliber. Him using coconut breasts and coconut butts and the guy's not a serious dude. And then he comes over here after we've sent hundreds of billions of dollars to his country. And you need to understand the background on this. And I think I'm going to bring in Marco Rubio here because he went on CNN and actually did really well. But I want to, just before that, when you saw that clip, and I don't know how many of you have watched the whole thing, but it's like 45, 50 minutes. And as this meeting progresses, it starts out pretty cordial and Trump says nice things. But what Zelensky did the whole time was he tried to litigate his case in front of the American people to overrule the will of the president. Now, we know that he was in the back pocket of Biden before. I've got some throwback video on that. He was campaigning for Democrats in Pennsylvania. So there's a lot here, but he goes along. The meeting's going pretty well. When I first saw the original clip, or the 2-minute clip there where the meeting really went off the rails, and he tried to lecture JD Vance, and President Trump stepped in after JD Vance was doing a fine job defending himself. I thought, what in the world am I watching? I mean, I got to admit, folks, I've been in, a lot of negotiations on business levels, and I've never seen something go off the rails quite like that. I'm serious. I mean, it was like, I was just uncomfortable watching it because I'm usually fairly diplomatic and stuff. I mean, I know I have strong opinions, folks, but when I'm in meetings like that, you guys understand. I mean, I can be pretty diplomatic. Well, then 40 minutes into this meeting, Zelensky essentially rejects, how Vance described the mandate of President Trump. President Trump gets this huge mandate, and then Zelensky's over here trying to school us on our politics. And then he basically tells Vance that his ideas are faulty. Oh, you just wrong think here. And goes on about how the administration's diplomacy won't work. And then he even had the gall to say that ceasefires hadn't worked with Russia in the past, when he basically had 4 years of peace with Trump in there. And then Trump delivered a smackdown on that. But I think you need to know what led up to this in the first place. And so we have to bring in the video of Marco Rubio. And let's see, where is that one? Oh, here. Well, I think what we should do, I'm gonna change the order here just a little. I'm gonna start. I just want us to watch the meeting again, and then I'm gonna get into one of the Ukrainian MPs is calling for President Zelensky's impeachment, And the media is coming out and saying some really crazy things about this guy, but I found something really interesting I'll share with you in a minute. But let's first just watch this meeting.
Diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country. Yeah.
No, I'm going to do the CNN clip first.
From President Zelensky.
So this is on Caitlin Collins. This is Marco Rubio. Watch this. This is nuts.
Just heard from President Zelensky. He said he does not think that he owes President Trump an apology for what happened inside the Oval Office today. Do you feel otherwise?
I do, because you guys don't see. You guys only saw the end. You saw what happened today. You don't see all the things that led up to this. So let me explain. The president's been very clear. He campaigned on this. He thinks this war should have never started. He believes, and I agree, that had he been president, it never would have happened. Now here we are. He's trying to bring an end to this conflict. We've explained very clearly what our plan is here, which is we want to get the Russians to a negotiating table. We want to explore whether peace is possible. They understand this. They also understand that this agreement that was supposed to be signed today was supposed to be an agreement that binds America economically to Ukraine, which to me, as I've explained, and I think the president alluded to today, is a security guarantee in its own way. Because
okay, this is the big point here, folks. So Zelensky keeps asking for these security guarantees. Basically, like, we're going to send our troops over there to do whatever if they get into another tip with Russia. That's ridiculous, okay? An economic... So if we're going to go over there and send our companies over there and start mining rare earth minerals, folks, right? I want to make sure everybody gets this point before we move on. Do you understand that that is a security guarantee? Because if we're over there doing that and we have a vested interest in the land of Ukraine and we're over there mining rare earth minerals, okay, do you not see that then we are going to defend those assets? Does everybody get this? I mean, so for Zelensky to then say, you need to sign on to, send troops over to, provide us with military weapons in perpetuity for a security guarantee. The security guarantee is the minerals deal. I think this is what's lost on people. The security guarantee is the minerals deal, because if we're there and we have that vested interest and we're mining those minerals, we're going to protect our interests. And then it's our interests as well as Ukraine's interests, not just Ukraine's interests. And then we will have more sway over there in terms of what they do, okay? And Russia's not going to come in and attack when we're there. Do you guys get all this? I mean, this is just nuts that Zelensky then tried to litigate a case in front of the American people, televised for all the world to see, and not expect to get smacked down. He was an ass, honestly. Okay. All right. Well, somebody said, wait. I saw a comment. I got to bring this up. You have to remember, Neil, these world leaders are not the brightest and best, and that's quite evident. I understand. They need controlled opposition. We should bring back the Zelensky butt slapping videos. Maybe I'll bring one of those in for you. So, because so many people, I still can't believe haven't seen that. All right, back to Marco here. I killed this point. I think I killed it.
We're involved. It's now us. It's our interests. That was all explained. That was all understood. And nonetheless, for the last 10 days, in every engagement we've had with the Ukrainians, there's been complications in getting that point across, including the public statements that President Zelensky has made. But they insisted on coming to D.C. This agreement could have been signed 5 days ago, but they insisted on coming to Washington. And there was...
Yeah, it could have been signed 5 days ago. And Zelensky overslept for a meeting with Besant. Overslept. This guy's a clown.
And should have been a very clear understanding. Don't come here and create a scenario where you're going to start lecturing us about how diplomacy isn't going to work. President Zelensky took it in that direction, and it ended in a predictable outcome as a result. It's unfortunate. That wasn't supposed to be this way, but that's the path he chose. And I think, frankly, sends his country backwards in regards to achieving peace, which is what President Trump wants at the end of the day, is for this war to end. He's been as consistent as anyone can be about what his objective is here.
But what specifically do you want to see President Zelensky apologize for?
Well, apologize for turning this thing into the fiasco for him that it became. There was no need for him to go in there and become antagonistic. Look, this thing went off the rails. You were there, I believe. It went off the rails when he said, let me ask you a question to the vice president. What kind of diplomacy are you talking about? Well, this is a serious thing. I mean, thousands of people have been killed, thousands. And he talks about all these horrible things that have happened to prisoners of war and children. All true, all bad. this is what we're dealing with here. It needs to come to an end. We are trying to bring it to an end. The way you bring it to an end is you get Russia to the table to talk. And he understands that attacking Putin, no matter how anyone may feel about him personally, forcing the president into a position where you're trying to goad him into attacking Putin, calling him names, maximalist demands about Russia having to pay for the reconstruction, all the sorts of things that you talk about in a negotiation. Well, when you start talking about that aggressively, and the president's a deal maker, he's made deals his entire life, you're not going to get people to the table. And so you start to perceive that maybe Zelensky doesn't want a peace deal. He says he does, but maybe he doesn't. And that active, open undermining of efforts to bring about peace is deeply frustrating for everyone who's been involved in communications with them leading up to today. And I think
But can I ask you?
Okay, now, folks, I don't know if you saw Marco Rubio's body language here during this thing. There have been a lot of pictures posted of that. I could always bring one in. But Marco Rubio was frustrated. I mean, like, he was visibly frustrated. Vance, was kind of like confident. He was kind of in his game. I think Marco Rubio was just pissed at this guy for tanking this right in front of his very eyes. It was wild. So here, let me go back to now. Let's watch the 2 minutes of the meeting here. Okay. Well, here, let me show you this first. In that, Zelensky is so what I want to say, untrained, undisciplined, that he let this comment slip. And this actually is real. Lip readers have commented on it. I've double, triple checked this. Okay. This actually did happen. So I want you to watch this. Under his breath, Zelensky mutters something really crazy.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour.
Yeah.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour.
Wow. I mean, talk about like an undisciplined fool to do something like that. And not think that the hot mic would pick it up. So I find this interesting because I always keep going back to the night that Hillary Clinton lost the election. And, up until that point, yeah, she would say Trump's terrible, Trump's this, Trump's that, but she'd keep her language clean and she'd try to keep it collected and together. And there's always been this thing where they put on this public face. And then behind closed doors, she was chucking chairs. People were running out of the room because she was cussing up a storm. That all came out after the election. That's how these people really are. And Zelensky just did that. So, and now we're going to watch just the 2 minutes. I think it's worth noting this again. I'll probably stop it at a couple times to just add a comment in here, but watch this meltdown is crazy. Now, understand, up to this point, there had been, all Zelensky had to do was maybe wear a suit, okay, show that he took the meeting seriously, show up, say thank you, do basic things, and this wouldn't have happened. Wow, this is wild.
Talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems.
Okay, guys, this whole forcing conscripts to the front lines because they have manpower problems. Okay, I'm going to add something in here on this. Okay. There's this guy, Lord Babo, he's on X, and, there's multiple videos. He's got, I think, like 20 videos. Here they are beating this guy. Okay. Here they are taking this guy. Okay. So they're forcing these conscripts. Now, so here they are, this guy, they're going to come take him. They just took another guy because they don't have enough people to fight their war. Now, that all being said, okay, like this guy, he gets chased down by a van. I think that's this one. Oh, this one, they just, he's walking home and now he's getting dumped in the vehicle. So this is taking place in Ukraine. All right. This is, it's just endless. Look at all these videos. All right. So here, I'll repost that on my X account. That way, if you're following me on X, you can see all these. I'm not going to go through them all. And I think they would actually, if we watched them too much, they would be deemed too violent or something. But we're going to go pull this out now. Okay. So that's taking place. Now, I do want to say something. If you have a draft and people are just, whatever, your rules of your country are your rules. Okay. So I just want to throw that out there. That being said, you can see that there's a vast number of people who don't want this war anymore. They don't want to fight in this war. They don't want to send their sons to die. The sons don't want to go die for this war. So they want a peace deal reached, and Zelensky just tanked the whole darn thing yesterday. All right, so now back to the media. The other thing I want you to think about is, again, if you watch the full meeting there at the White House, what took place leading up to that 40-minute mark, you know, Trump was very clear. Trump was clear. Again, Zelensky wasn't invited. He came over under the pretense that he was going to sign this deal, and instead he planned to litigate this in front of the American people. And what's really wild, and I've got something here I'm going to show you. I'll just pull this up on my my phone, a picture. Oh no, I just deleted that. I've got it on my computer, but I'll find it. But every European leader saying the same thing. It's almost like it was a staged thing that they thought would go better. All right, back to this.
You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Look at him. And his body language, his arms crossed. Have you ever been to Ukraine? Hey, do you know where J.D. Vance was, folks? I'll tell you, Mr. Zelensky, who thinks that everybody needs to go to Ukraine and we need to give all our money there. Vance was in North Carolina. He was in Western North Carolina. He was in Palestine, Ohio. He was here solving problems on our home front. Natural disasters here. Dealing with the needs of American citizens here. Okay? He wasn't running all over the world asking countries for billions of dollars, which, hey, by the way, have we ever had a bunch of countries give us billions of dollars to solve our problems here at home? I mean, is the UK, is France, are all these places sending money when the East Palestine disaster happened and Joe Biden wouldn't even show up? I mean, has this ever been the other way? I'm just curious. All right, back to the meeting.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
This is where, folks, when I was watching this piece of the puzzle, I said, what did that little twit say? What did he say? He's basically threatening us with problems. Now, I know he's not saying like Ukraine's coming to your doorstep, but he's basically saying you don't support Ukraine, you're going to have problems. Oh, you got this nice ocean, you don't feel it. He literally just laid this kind of tacit threat out. This is where it really was like, what? I was watching this the first time, and this is the part that really set me off. I don't know where you guys are at on this, but this was the point in the meeting where I was like, wait, let's go back. Let's hear that one more time.
Everybody has problems.
Everybody.
Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in.
You don't feel now, but you will feel it. Really?
The future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're
answering.
no.
Okay. First off, he did tell us what we were going to feel. This is a common thing. I watch this all the time with liberals with Scott Jennings on CNN. They're always saying they didn't say what they just said. He just said what we were going to feel. You don't feel now, but you will feel. And then he says he didn't say what he just said. And Trump handles this beautifully.
Position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very
You
strong.
will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown.
position.
He keeps trying to interrupt Trump, man. This boy is getting taken to task right now. This is wild watching this.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start
I'm
having
not
cards.
playing
But
cards.
right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives of
anymore.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
What do you
You're
think
gambling.
about?
You're gambling with World War III. Okay, and Zelensky, oh, cards, they're just as serious, obviously it's a figure of speech, my word. Maybe that was lost on him. I'm going to give him that one. I'm going to give Zelensky that because I'm a fair guy, folks. You know me. I'm a fair guy, right? It might have just been, they don't understand that expression in Ukraine, right? Come on. We'll just give him that one, okay? He needed an explanation. All right. Because he seems to have a bit of a language barrier. I watched some other things.
With World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. It's
with
back
all
to
respect
you.
to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
you said thank
Even
you.
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying
What's
to
he talking
save
about?
your country.
What's he talking about? Well, folks, I have that video. I'll bring that one in here in just a little bit. But because I've got the video of him going out and campaigning in let me just see if I can find this here quick for you, folks. This is wild. Yeah, I mean, does everybody remember this guy actually was campaigning for Joe Biden, the opposition? He was in there with, remember Governor Shapiro? Do you guys remember this? Oh my gosh, this is so wild. Oh, these people, some people's kids. Oh, where that went. Oh, I know. I got it on the desktop here. I know where this is. We're going to bring this in. This is why I need a producer, folks. But don't worry, it'll be worth it. This would be the PA, I think I labeled this. I can't find it right now, so I'm going to just move on, and I will bring it because I know where I've got it here somewhere, but I just have it named differently. But now the Democrats, what's interesting about this, I'm going to bring you back to an Obama video. So do you guys remember during the McCain, Palin, and, he was talking about, Obama was basically mocking Mitt Romney about our Cold War era politics. Okay. And actually on this point, he was right. Obama was right. Now, he was right for different reasons. He had his own reason for saying what he said, but and he was also the guy who was involved with the CIA coup with Victoria Nuland. Okay, but watch this.
Thank you. In China, in Syria, in Egypt, and now in Russia, we've seen you make strong statements, issue warnings that have been ignored. Are you concerned that America's influence in the world, your influence in the world, is on the decline? And in the light of recent developments, do you think Mitt Romney had a point when he said that Russia is America's biggest geopolitical foe? If not Russia, who?
With respect to the situation in Ukraine, we have not gone to war with Russia. I think there's a significant precedent to that in the past. That does not mean that Russia is not isolated. In fact, Russia is far more isolated in this instance than it was 5 years ago with respect to Georgia, and more isolated than it was certainly during most of the 20th century when it was part of the Soviet Union. The point is that there are always going to be bad things that happen around the world. With respect to Mr. Romney's assertion that Russia is our number one geopolitical foe, the truth of the matter is that America's got a whole lot of challenges. Russia is a regional power that is threatening some of its immediate neighbors, not out of strength, but out of weakness.
Now, isn't this interesting? So this was a popular Democrat position, just a decade ago, only a decade ago. This was a popular Democrat position. Russia's no big deal. Russia this, Russia that. But now for some reason, Ukraine, Russia.
Ukraine has been a country in which Russia had enormous influence for decades, since the breakup of the Soviet Union. We have considerable influence on our neighbors. We generally don't need to invade them in order to have a strong cooperative relationship with them. The fact that Russia felt compelled to go in militarily and lay bare these violations of international law indicates less influence, not more.
So before they were saying that Russia invading showed that they had less influence and Russia wasn't a threat, regional stuff. Wow. Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, I found this video I want to show you guys. Okay, so this was again, we go back to the oh yeah, please smash that like. I'll pull that out. Okay, so here he is. This is Zelensky in Pennsylvania, and he's like, do you remember this? And he even said in the when he's there, oh, what's he talking about? About Vance saying that he's campaigning for the opposition. Here. The war party signing the warheads. Okay, and there's Z. Okay. Shapiro, a bunch of Democrats, because he was basically out there campaigning. There, by the way, look here. See this gal? She's the one who was at the White House holding her head in her hands when she saw it all falling apart. Okay? So I totally remember this. So then for him to go, wait, what's he talking about? What's he talking about? What? Like, you were there, Z. You were there. It just blows my mind. Okay. Now, here's what's really wild. Now, I really want you guys in the chat to start. I want you to tell me what you think of this. So I'm going to share a Lindsey Graham clip. Lindsey Graham, of course, has been the greatest Zelensky apologist. So now the question is, why this? Why is Lindsey Graham doing this right now? Okay, now, and I want you just to watch his face, his actions, his body language, everything.
Complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine 8 or 9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well. I talked to Zelensky this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance, standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelensky do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know.
What did President Trump say to you? You just had lunch with President Trump. What did he say to you about his interactions and whether he thinks he can work with Zelensky?
He was very upbeat. I told Zelensky, we'll talk about security guarantees. We'll talk about ceasefires and how the war ends. This is a process. You have a new relationship with America, a $500 billion, $500 billion deal that President Trump is proud of, that gives us an interest worth defending. Let's talk about the positive. But he was terrible at Munich, Zelensky, and I think he has made it almost impossible to sell to the American people that he's a good investment.
Guys, check this out. Watch his method acting. I don't know if you guys ever watch this with politicians start breaking it down. He's actually proud of his little acting bit here. Watch this.
Let's talk about the positive, but he was terrible at Munich, Zelensky, and I think he has made it almost impossible to sell to the American people that he's a good investment.
See, right there. He's having a moment of reflection. Dang, that was good. That was good. Do you guys see it? I mean, maybe it's just me, but I totally see this.
Last question. Senator Graham. Senator, a number of European... Hey, one at a time. One at a time. Senator Graham, thank you. Do you think President Zelensky needs to resign to resume these peace talks?
He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
Wow. Now, folks, how many times, trivia question for the chat, have we, in fact, let's just go, how many times in the last 30 years have we been involved in regime change in Ukraine? How many times? Answer in the chat. And now we're calling for it again. I think there's more to what's going on here with what Lindsey Graham is saying. I just think there's a little more to this. This is, I mean, so we had in 2004, we had in 2014, and those are the two that are advertised. I actually think there was three, but I won't get into all of that right now, but I think it was three. Some people are saying five. Maybe there's more that I don't know of, but 2004 was definitely one. And I don't know if you remember, the leader of Ukraine got poisoned. He had like pitted face and everything. I actually remember that at that time. I wasn't even paying much attention to Ukraine at that time, but I remember that because he was and then we had the other one. But now we've got this I've got to get to this. God, there's so much to cover here, folks. This story is big. Watch this. This is the remember I showed you she was in the other video as well with Shapiro, but this is Ukraine's ambassador to the U.S. and look at her. She just sees it going off the rails. She knows it's over. She knows it's over. She knows it's over. It's wild. This whole thing is just so wild to me. But now let's get to this. I want to cover this. So where is it? No, not here. Not here. Not here. Wait. It was. Oh, there's Graham saying a little bit more. Oh, by the way, 4 hours ago, breaking, Zelensky said in a series of posts on X that he's now ready to sign the mineral deal. But he's not. Again, he's trying to litigate it in the public. However, he claims the deal is insufficient, demands security guarantee, and urges America to support Ukraine more strongly. He is trying to build, this little imp is trying to build a pressure campaign on our president. A foreign leader is attempting to build a pressure campaign on our president by using the American people and the American media. Have you ever, I mean, honestly, gosh, Russia collusion. Please. Oh, my word. Here, I'm going to, gosh, I just can't with all this stuff. Let's get this. I had that all pulled up. Maybe it was on my phone. Maybe it's on my my phone here. It's a problem without a producer. I've got this stuff all over the place. But here, I'm going to show you another thing. I want to show you John Bolton. John Bolton, watch this.
Yeah, this is really one of the most disgraceful performances that I've seen, and I think it's important to understand that, in particular, Trump and Vance own this personally. This is the kind of attack on a country that's defending itself from an unprovoked aggression, and they just unleashed on Zelensky in public. And whether they planned it or not, I don't know. I'm not that concerned with questions of etiquette. I am concerned that the president, vice president of the United States have sided with the aggressor, with, as Mike Waltz was just saying there, somebody who's trying to recreate the Russian Empire, something he's been very clear about since 2005 at least. And now you have, sadly, both Mike Waltz and Marco Rubio in the administration and apparently staying. I just say, remember, this is not the second month of Trump's tenure. This is the 50th month of his 2-year term. And this is the point when somebody does 180 degrees from understanding American allies to backing America's adversaries, that you resign.
Mark, are you saying Marco Rubio should resign?
And Mike Waltz, this is really the time to do it. If they don't get out now, I think their reputations will suffer for a long, long time. And that would be sad, because their record in believing in a strong American national security policy has been very good up until now.
Wow. John Bolton. I am telling you that anything John Bolton is for, you can safely say you can be against and be on the right side. So here's the thing. There is calls right now from one of the members of parliament of Ukraine to impeach. Okay. Now, whenever I see this stuff, I immediately go, okay, who is this guy? What's the deal? I have found something really wild here. Okay. So this is the guy here. His name is Alexander Dubinsky. And he says, here, we'll go here, just right to the tweet here. The events of the past hours, the public humiliation of Zelensky at the White House, Trump's acknowledgement of Zelensky's diplomatic failure, and Ukraine's loss of unconditional U.S. support have marked the final act of the regime's collapse. But Zelensky has not only failed in foreign policy, he has driven the country into a state where anyone who disagrees with his course faces repression. I was thrown into prison not for a crime, but for speaking the truth, the very truth that Trump has now stated. Zelensky has lost. He has no cards left to play. He is running out of soldiers, and the country has reached a dead end due to his stubbornness. I demand the immediate convening of an emergency session of the parliament, where parliament must initiate impeachment proceedings against Zelensky for the failure of foreign policy, which has led to Ukraine's international isolation, the loss of allied support, a lost war, which is the result of incompetent leadership and catastrophic decisions, violations of citizens' rights and the usurpations of power manifested in the suppression of opposition, prosecution of dissenters, and authoritarian rule. I appeal to all members of the Ukrainian parliament. Stop wasting time. Stop waiting. Zelensky is bankrupt. Zelensky is not Ukraine. It is time to put him on trial. If he cannot offer a real way out of the crisis, then it is up to us to make fateful decisions. Zelensky thought he could rule Ukraine through force. Now he has lost. Ukraine must decide. Will it continue its free fall into the abyss, or will it begin the fight for true independence? Okay. So now I was like, well, wait, now who really is this guy? Okay. This is wild. Okay. Ukrainian MP Alexander Dubinsky has demanded the impeachment of Trump. Okay. In a fiery post. Okay. Where is it? Okay. The push for impeachment. Okay. The lost war. Zelensky thought he could rule Ukraine through force. Now he's lost. Okay. A member of Ukraine's parliament. Since 2019, Dubinsky is no stranger to controversy. He was arrested in 2023 on suspicion of state treason and accused of spreading misinformation about Ukraine's leadership. The U.S. sanctioned him in 2021, alleging ties to a Russian influence network and interference in the 2020 U.S. election. With tensions mounting at Kiev and Washington support wavering, Dubinsky's call for impeachment could add new political turmoil to Ukraine's already fragile landscape. I think we found something there. Good night. Really? Oh, my word. Tough to keep up with all the crap going on, folks. That's wild. That's wild. All right. Let's see. We're going to pull in here. I want you guys to watch some of the leftist reactions to this. We're going to watch a little bit of the clip from Fox, Brett Baer, and then the CNN host reaction to it. This is good.
I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect President and I respect American people. And if, I don't know, if I think that we have to be very open and very honest, and I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media.
Shouldn't this dynamic, if you're going to be like this, be behind closed doors? Not
of course. And
so do you regret that? Are you regretting that happened today?
Regretting. Yes, I think it was not good. I think it was not good because we had a lot of different dialogues. I'm always open to media, but there are very sensitive things. I just want to be honest.
He's always open to media, folks. Always. He would never do anything to somebody. What? This is too much for me.
And I just want our partners to understand the situation correctly. and I want to understand everything correctly. That's about us, not to lose our friendship.
That was not a yes. I certainly did not say that he was going to apologize. And, you know, the point that he was just making about it being open to the press, you know, I don't believe that meetings between two allies generally get that contentious, whether it's in front of the camera or behind the camera. They definitely have discussions and they have serious disagreements, which they try to work out. But, you know, I know you said earlier that it was genuine. I totally agree with you that Donald Trump's and J.D. Vance's, well, Donald Trump in particular, his reaction was genuine, that he was genuinely angry. But the fact that the cameras were allowed to stay for as long as they were, the Trump.
Okay, let me just, as she's talking about this, folks, a serious poll in the chat. How many of you are glad the cameras were on, or you feel the cameras should have been off? So yes for cameras on, no, the cameras should have been, you know, the press should have been kicked out. I can respect either argument on this, but I'm glad they were there myself.
Administration, the president himself, clearly, in fact, he sort of suggested he wanted the American people to see this moment. He had been against a lot of the support for Ukraine for a long time. Certainly, J.D. Vance had been against the U.S. staying involved in Ukraine. And so we can never forget that even though he is the president of the United States of America, he is very much focused on the people who brought him to the dance. And those people, a lot of the voters who supported him, even more than that, the majority of the American people, they're done with supporting Ukraine.
There's the big secret, folks. Americans on a whole are done with supporting Ukraine, and the numbers are over 70%. It's like 74% are like done. We're like done. So that's even the Democrats. So what's interesting about this is you watch these people, Zelensky, when you watch people like, well, I'm going to show you an Adam Schiff clip and a couple other Democrats, you need to understand that what they are advocating for is what America and American people are against. And so they look so old at this point. Their ideas so old. It's all about how Russia's bad. You know, they're still in the Cold War or something. And we don't see it that way. Okay. We don't. And so they're only harming their own, reputation. Their reputation score is taking a hit. Now, Adam Schiff, what reputation does he even have? But I do have to bring this in because if you remember in the course of that meeting too, Donald Trump actually called out Adam Schiff. He called out how the persecution, the prosecution that he had faced, the whole Russian disinformation campaign. He talked about how Putin had to deal with that whole Russian disinformation campaign. So again, you know, he's not singling Putin out as the bad guy here. He's saying, look, I mean, there's other issues at play.
The president says the U.S. will not be making, in his words, security guarantees to Ukraine beyond very much, close quote. How do you interpret that?
Well, this is an effort to pressure Zelensky into giving up something for nothing. And I have to say this on top of the resolution at the United States.
Again, that's crap. We've already covered it. He's not giving up something for nothing by the very interest of signing, or by the very act of signing that minerals deal. It has Americans there, American interests there. So that's not the case.
Nations where the United States sided with Russia, betrayed Ukraine, is one of the most shameful incidents in modern history. I think millions and millions and millions of Americans.
I actually think the Russia hoax was one of the most shameful incidents in modern history, Adam, and you were part of that.
Americans watching this not only disagree with the president, but maybe for the first time are just downright ashamed of the president because we have betrayed an ally.
Anybody out there ashamed of the president? Anybody? Because I'm not. I was actually really happy to see somebody stand up for us and our interests and actually call things out like that. I mean, really? Were any of you ashamed? Because I wasn't.
We've not only betrayed an ally, but we've betrayed our principles. Are we to be nothing except transactional now. We have no commitment to democracy, no commitment to our allies. It's all going to be about the money. That seems to be Donald Trump's orientation. But what a sad chapter of our history.
Projectocrats, talk about being all about the money, Adam Schiff. Donald Trump doesn't need the money for the president. He doesn't even take a salary. You take yours and then you utilize insider trading information to make more money. And there's even not even any telling where all his money comes from right now.
What do you see, Senator, as the purpose of this minerals deal that President Trump is expected to sign with the Ukrainian President Zelensky Friday at the White House?
Well, I think probably from Donald Trump's point of view, he hopes that this will help get his hands on some of the mineral wealth of Ukraine in exchange for nothing.
Donald Trump isn't in the mineral mining business, Adam. It's for America, not for Donald Trump. Again, just a dumb guy. This is an incredibly dumb guy.
So what's in it for Zelensky? I have to imagine the only thing in it for Zelensky is maybe trying to improve somewhat his relationship with this hostile U.S. president who seems so beholden to Vladimir Putin. Frankly, I think it's a difficult errand for Zelensky. He has been really Churchillian in his leadership.
Okay, that's it. Churchillian. I can't with him anymore. Churchillian. Now we're comparing Vladimir Zelensky to Winston Churchill. Please. Gosh, I can't with these people. I don't know. It gets to a point, folks. I want you to see what they say. But, all right, we saw enough of him. I want to bring this other one in because here we go. This is a United States congressman. Watch what he has to say.
The President of the United States is a coward who is Vladimir Putin's puppet. And the Vice President of the
I don't know. Do they all get a sheet? It's like a sheet. Okay, use Putin's puppet. Use dictator.
United States is a pogue and a coward who is Donald Trump's puppet. And so what we just witnessed was a meeting in the Oval Office between two cowardly puppets and a hero.
Congressman, I wonder if you...
A hero and two cowardly puppets.
You think that President Zelensky could have handled it differently, the way that some of his European counterparts and Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer did, and perhaps been more deferential to Trump and Vance?
No, this is such a great question. Now watch this guy. And do you think as you watch this, do you think that they're winning this narrative war in the mainstream media, the Democrats? I think they're losing it, and they're losing it poorly. I don't think anybody likes to see some foreigner who's been asking for billions and can't say thank you in a meeting, can't wear a suit, and then he goes on the attack mode against our president and vice president. I don't think that plays out well. I don't think that's a war they're winning through narrative.
Deferential to what? Deferential to a president who allowed a deal in his first term to crumble because Putin just violated it? Deferential to a vice president who didn't even bother to visit Ukraine? I hardly know anyone in Congress who has any view on national security who hasn't been to Ukraine during this war. Deferential to a draft dodger who's our commander-in-chief? Zelensky doesn't deserve to be deferential to anyone in that Oval Office. In fact, I kind of wish he'd put them in their place a little bit stronger. The vast majority of my Republican colleagues in Congress completely agree with me. They know the truth here. They're just too scared to say it themselves.
Uh-huh. Okay, folks, I got a special treat for you. I did it. I found it. I pulled this up. Why? Because you're my audience, and why not? Why not? Here we go. I hope you're ready for this. That's literally Vladimir Zelensky. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not. I don't. Yeah. Okay. I mean, before I've showed you the butt slap and high heel wearing one, but this is, I think I like, what is the deal with our CIA screwing all this kind of stuff up? And I think actually the more I've learned, I don't know where you guys are at. I love our country. Star Spangled Banner, God bless America. I mean, fly the flag. I love this country. Okay. But our government has really let us down. Do you guys get that? I mean, it's like I can love my country, but have real concerns about my government. And I look at what they have done, not only over in Ukraine, but in some of the countries in Africa, the Middle East, Latin America, Central America area. I just, wow. I mean, why are we meddling in trying to create regime change in all these nations? I mean, I understand protecting American interests. I really do. And I get that there are times where we have to know what's going on and that. But whatever happened to a little live and let live? Anyways, go check out my sponsor, MyPillow, mypillow.com. Use promo code Lumberjack. I forgot all about that. Still phenomenal deals over there. The $9.98 roll and go pillows and free shipping, folks. Phenomenal deal. In fact, let me just, I'll share this real quick.
Excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
Folks, like I said, I gathered a lot of material. I watched a lot before I did a video because I wanted to be able to, when I first saw the 2-minute clip, it would have been, he's dancing again. Wait, you guys probably want to see that. I'm sorry. I'll add it back in for you. There he is. I don't know why it started playing again, but there you go. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, how do we pick these people? God help us. We just need tools. I think we just need tools. Oh, Lord have mercy. They're not serious people. Yeah, I mean, you realize that any one of you in my audience could most likely do as good of a job as this guy. I really think, do I currently have qualifications to be president? Honestly, no. I mean, I don't. I think I would have to have a little bit more in the way of connections to, be able to understand a number of things better. And so not everybody gets this job. Not everybody should have it. And yet I could do a better job than Vlad. I really believe that. I'm not trying to be braggadocious or egotistical or anything, but what do you guys think? I mean, I really honestly think I could do a better job than Vladimir Zelensky. What do you guys think? I mean, could I? Yes, no? Curious what your thoughts are. I mean, and I'm not saying that because I think I'm just great. That's not the point. It's just how bad he is. yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I've actually been in negotiations with billionaires, and and done quite well. And I was it was early on in my 20s. I mean, so it's just one of those things. I find it all fascinating that these people are just that bad. That they're just that bad. So. Anyways, I love y'all. Keep fighting the good fight, folks. Looks like most of you agree. I saw some people say no, so that's fine. Kumdan says no. It's fine. He looks, an interesting dude. Yeah. Oh, he looks like a troll, Kumdan. Look at this. Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool. Thanks for listening, Kumdan. Glad you're here getting the good information. Oh, no, and I don't think he does either. I think there's maybe some green screens. Oh, this guy. Will you wear your plaid? Maybe. Oh, this is fun. That was funny. I wish it'd be nice actually every once in a while to have a few more trolls so you could just like pull their comments out. All right, man. I love y'all. Keep fighting the good fight, folks. You're great people. Love y'all. Peace out.